Hey guys, this is Chris from ONE3 Speed, and I wanted to do just a brief demo on our ONE3 Speed 24 button box for iRacing. And I wanted to go over a few things about the button box, why I built it the way that I built it, and some of the features about it that I think are really great. Now, there are some button boxes out there that blow ours away. They are just amazingly built with rotating knobs and LED displays embedded, built custom to fit with your wheel, and they are just absolutely fantastic. If that's in your budget and you want that, go buy those. Those are really good. There's also a bunch of button boxes that are a lot more basic than this one, that are kind of DIY projects, or you can get them on Etsy really inexpensively. And if that's your budget and that's what will help you have some success and enjoy the sim, I fully encourage you to go get those as well too. Those are really great. There's not a lot that you can't build with those that will meet your functions. But when I was looking for a button box for myself, I wanted a box that would really kind of suit all of my needs for the sim, and I wanted something that I could do without having to look. I was looking for a design that would let me manage my car during the race without having to look. So I wanted something that was ergonomically easy to use, and I could hit the buttons and make my changes to the car during the race or make my pit strategy changes during the race without having to actually do anything by taking my eyes off of the car. I wanted to make sure I could just make these looks and make these changes. So let's kind of go by section here. And first, let's go with the in-car adjustments. And these can be programmed per car. I have 5 sets of buttons on this particular one, depending on what your needs are. I know a lot of my friends will run road races where there's more adjustments with traction control and engine mapping for Indy cars and all kinds of adjustments that you can map to. The biggest one for me, I run a lot of fixed setups. I don't run a lot of open sets, but brake bias adjustment right here. And knobs are great, but I want to know that if I hit the button once in the positive, it's gone in that direction for the car in real time. If I hit the button to go in the negative direction, it makes the change as well too. So I made these with buttons versus rotary knobs because I don't have to look, and I can hear the clicks, I can feel the clicks, I know that I've entered 2 values, and it's going to make that change. Depending on the car that you run, you can program these to actually have different functions based on what car that you're running. So there's options for you within the sim, and which car you're running. Like, for example, what I run in a next-gen cup car, or if I run a truck, versus what I'm running in an Indy car or a Pro 4, these can have different programming functions within the sim. So basically these are black for plus and red for minus. So if you're doing a traction control change up or down, if you're doing a brake bias adjustment up or down, if you're moving your sprint car wing up or down, you can program these easily. And the benefit of it is if you're in the sim and don't mind my terrible racing wheel, but you don't have to look to know that you can just feel on the cluster that these are the pit adjustments and this is the button for what you want to change. You'll have to memorize it. It may take some practice a little bit to get used to where they are, but your predominant one, if you're running ovals, is brake bias. You'll make that change during the run, perhaps even, and you can make the changes easily. It's if you're like me, you're going to use your left hand to make these changes. It's the top button, up or down. I don't have to look to make these changes. I can easily do that. The other piece is making your pit strategy and executing it right here from an easy button cluster. And I did this, I kind of evolved to this really based on experience. And I run a lot of league action. I don't run a lot. I do run officials, but I prefer league racing because there's accountability, personal take. But some of those have longer runs, and pit strategy does come into account. So what we've done is I've got a pit strategy button, which is your yellow flag stop. This is your standard 4-tire, gas, tear off, and an exit kind of a strategy, right? I've also got programmed here 2 green flag stops. The green flag stop might be a standard stop minus the tear off. Maybe you want to make a change and you know that you don't need a full tank of fuel, so before the race, you program this to be, instead of full tank, which I think in a cup is 15 gallons, maybe you go 12 gallons. So you're not spending extra time fueling when all you really need is the tires. And another one could be, it's up to you really, but right side's only in a half tank of gas. Maybe that's what you want to pre-program in here so you're good to go. The next button cluster is really your drill downs. Clear is an important one because what clear does is it basically means that when you enter pit lane, the pit crew has instructions to do nothing. This is exceptionally helpful if you have to serve a penalty or if you have damage and you're coming in just to get the damage fixed. If you've got 12 seconds of optionals or 4 minutes of optionals, maybe you've come in once, you've already done the tire change and filled the tank of gas, but you want to come back out during the caution, go back in the pits and get more damage fixed. You're going to want to bang that clear fix button. That's going to clear everything. The next two buttons are exceptionally important, but they go with this. So you could be in a race, for example, you're running Daytona in an official, and you'll never need gas in an official. But let's say you've power slid down the straightaway and you want to get new tires. You're going to bang tire strategy. This is 4 wheels, all 4 tires. This is right side only. It's going to pass an instruction into the chat, and they're going to execute your change. So this is 4 tires, and this is right side tires. And this is your fuel strategy, blue for Sunoco. Fuel strategy, your main one obviously is full tank. This is a half tank, the way I have it programmed. And this is a gas and go, maybe 2 gallons, 3 gallons of gas. Again, building this up for strategy for long-term races. And the last piece here is fast repair. If you're handy like I and you go into the INI file within your setups, you can turn fast repairs off by default. If you don't, you've undoubtedly been bitten by this, where you do a fast repair when you have 1 second of optional and you've wasted your fast repair. This is an on-off toggle for your fast repair. So red meaning you get it, white meaning that you do not. Or if you want to flip it, you can go the other direction. But I have this pre-labeled as yes and no. And the last thing on here, there's 3 more buttons on here that I really haven't discussed. And it's ignition switch, the starter, and tow exit. So first is the ignition. And I'm going to pan over here when I switch it so you can see the dashboard. I don't run this field of vision ever on the next gen car, but I'm going to turn the ignition on. It's going to lock up. You hear the solid click. You see the dashboard cluster light up, which means that we have power to the car. Then I'm going to hold and the starter, and you'll see my display shows the RPMs. Obviously running, car is now running. I'm ready to put it in gear and go. Now, if you hit the starter again when the car's running, you're going to hear a grind sound. It doesn't do anything. But you have the ability to turn the car off, obviously, if you want to coast. But you will need to put the car back on and restart the ignition if you're trying to conserve fuel. All right. And the last one is, it's a different button on here. The density of the button is different. It's got a red LED light. And this is the get me out of here button, the tow exit or the reset button. This will get you out of the car and get you back to the main screen. It'll also be your tow exit button. So I have it. It's recessed. It's really easy to find. But the idea is that you can make all these changes. Reach over here and grab your box right from the wheel right to the box. And the button's right here. It's easy to feel. It's super clean. It's smooth. It feels different than these are raised buttons. This one's more recessed. It's got a red LED light. Hopefully, if you're hitting this button, your race isn't over with. But it gives you a chance to easily find that button and get you out of here. So that's what the cluster of buttons is meant for. And there are better button boxes. There are less complicated button boxes out there. But the idea of this and the cluster is that when you reach this and you feel these 3 buttons, you know you're at the pit buttons. This one with no button next to it, that's your clear button. This one with 1 button next to it, that's your tire button. Makes it easy to find without looking. And this is your tire one. You know this cluster is unique, and this is going to be your fuel adjustment one. And over here you have your fast repair on and off. I built this with the intent, and the reason why I built it this way, and backstory is I was running at Daytona, and I was 13th in line on the inside of 15 cars deep, running 3 wide, and I accidentally looked down to make a change to my test button box. The ergonomics weren't set up this way at all. I beefed it. I doored the guy next to me, and I took out a pack of cars, and I felt like an idiot. So I wanted to make this where it requires 0 looking whatsoever. So that's why this layout is the way it is. Now, I made earlier generations of this button box that were just a little bit different. I got some feedback from some customers that some things could be tweaked, and I took all that information back. I tested it with the test box, loved it, and this is the version that I think we're going to go with for a long time. The feedback has been phenomenal. People who have purchased it have absolutely loved it. It's been shipped all over the country with great feedback. I'm going to show, this is a button box with a decal. When I ship these button boxes, they come nothing on it. This is one right out of a box. I haven't shipped this one out yet, obviously. I wanted to show the back. This one has, this particular box It has the drill marks if you want to switch to a 75 by 75 Visa mount, but by default, it comes with, not only is it pre-drilled for 100 by 100, but it's also got the female mounts in there. So it's ready to go. And there are 2 USBs that are recessed in the back, so it's going to look nice and neat. Previous versions of this had it on the side, so it looked kind of clunky and it didn't look great in the rig. Took feedback on that and found these really great pieces that I get shipped from the UK that come in that are recessed female versions of this. So really it's low profile, looks super smooth, and it really takes away the visual in the box. You can't see the cables, well, you can if I go up. But just from looking at the rig, I don't have a rig, I have a desk mount. With mine, I took it off. I usually have a plate under the wheel that I mount this to so it stays put. But this has a bracket made in China that I got off of Amazon that 2 screws mounts right in. This pivots and you can mount it. Like you want to mount it to a rig, you can mount it to a rig. But this has the distance and the cables go in a way where they don't exceed past the distance of the mounting bracket. So it's not going to be crimped or bent or cause any damage to your cables. And also this comes with, like I mentioned, the decals, whether you're a fan of a 1.3 speed, hey, iRacing, or you want to use Ford, Toyota, or Chevy decals. These are open source graphics, so I threw them in here so you can use these on the box if you want to represent your favorite brand. I guess that unit comes there. Comes with the 4 male screws to do your Visa mount with, and it comes with instructions, robust instructions that not only have how to set it up. There's no software to install whatsoever. It gets installed as the joystick to your PC, so there's nothing to install or anything or update. With mapping recommendations and even the instructions on what exactly to put in to get your optimal performance, which would match the recommended mapping that comes on here, and also the full gamut of what the commands actually are. So you can customize this to suit your own needs per car, what you run, or per race that you're going to be in. I've run in street stock 400 lap races in street stocks, where strategy comes into play, and you want to program a different set of buttons for what you would do if you're running, for example, a cup race, and you're going to shred tires long before you go through a tank of gas. So you can help manage your race just a bit better there. So this is the 24 button box, available on one3speed.com for purchase in our online store. We ship anywhere to U.S. as well as Canada now. Unfortunately, no shipping to anywhere outside of the U.S. and Canada at this time. Just the cost of shipping is just too much, and it just far exceeds the cost of the box. If you're going to spend that kind of money on a box, buy a better one. There's a lot of options all across the world that are amazing, but to spend $350 on shipping for a unit like this is just ridiculous. So hope you enjoy. Hope this helps out. Make a decision to buy one of our button boxes. These things come in. I take a lot of pride in the packaging. I build these by hand, so clearly I take pride in the presentation, the quality. I build them right here in my workshop, and I ship them out right here in Buffalo, New York. So if you have any questions, hit us up through the website and ask away. I'd be more than happy to answer anything you got about them. They're not super complex, but I built them with the idea of being a racer and what would help you get better results in your race. These won't make you faster, but they'll make you better. Thanks, guys. Have a good time.